I'm going to ask Adma to come up. Her father, let me just tell just a bit about her. Her father was the former president of India, President Adma Venkataraman. Padma has been the permanent women's representative to the United Nations, the All-Indian Women's Conference of the United Nations for 20 years. She was the vice president of the Women's India Association. She is the vice president of the International Committee on the Status of Women at the United Nations. She was the president of the United Nations Women's Guild. You're getting a theme here. She's also on the board of directors of the National Red Cross in India and a trustee of the Global Cancer Concern in India. Enterprise Mentors here, which is the reason she's here, in Utah, has named her as their International Humanitarian of the Year. It is with great pleasure that I introduce you to Padma. Will you join me in welcoming her, Adma Venkataraman?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really an honor and pleasure to be here. I'm really so happy to be here because when I was talking the afternoon during lunch, I heard there are so many foreign students, international students here. This is the need of the hour because thanks to technological development nowadays, the world is really shrinking. Unless we learn it from the young age, about other cultures and other people's behavior and all that, we always will have difference of opinion. So I really admire the school, and of all the universities I visited, I'm really very, very happy to be here because of your international character and what remarkable work and the changes that you are going to bring about in the world. I really thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I met Becky 4 years ago, and I'm happy that we are partnering and we are working together. And before that, I had worked in Delhi. 20 years ago, I started the socio-economic rehabilitation of leprosy-affected people. In those days, microcredit was not so popular among any of them. And particularly, nobody thought that leprosy people could take loan and do something productive and earn money and can return. And none of us, including me, I didn't have any hope or real vision that it can be achieved. But I kept thinking nothing should be given free. If you just feed them one day, then they'll be hungry for their next meal. So I was thinking very hard. I should not give them some cash or some money or some food. That is quite easy. You can ask some people, they will give them food or clothing or blankets, whatever they need. So how to make it sustainable, how to make it really a development of this group. And this is absolutely impossible, next to impossible in those days. So I had spent a lot of time just talking to them what can be done with their cooperation. You cannot go and tell them do this, do that, and unless you take them along with you, your program will not be successful. So I realized that, and also you have to win their trust, confidence. First of all, they are so used to people coming and giving things free, and you want to make them productive members of the society. So you have to win their confidence. I spent a lot of time talking to them. And in Delhi, we created, 20 years ago, I created a place called Village of Hope. This place is consisting of 4,000 leprosy-affected people. And if I go today, I just go as a guest. They have flourishing economic activities. They have preschool and schools and women's self-help groups and computer classes. Those who started studying computer, as Becky rightly said, they have a bright future. And thankfully, when the boom took place, when this technology came to India, all of them got very good jobs. They would have never dreamt. And we were very happy. We thought they will get good chance by studying computer science and all that. But when the boom came, it was really wonderful. It was beyond our expectations that those people really flourished. And that was all the FAO, United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, helped me to start that. And all the people, I am just a catalyst. I just bring United Nations organizations, national, international, non-profit organizations, and the government together. That is my role. And then when they studied this and they said this is sustainable and this should be replicated in other parts of India, then I came down to South. And I retired. I came back from Vienna and settled down in India. And we had a 5-year project through which I went around over the whole of South India and started the same model. I started with survey because that is very important to understand what is their need, what is their aptitude, and what is their physical ability, because they are not like normal people. So we have to assess their physical ability. That's very important. And whether they had any experience before they contracted the disease, what exactly they want to do. That is very important. So unless and until you involve them in your discussion, initially they were all shy, they never participated, and over a period of time you can see how many hands are going up, and this is how they really participated, and that made my work much easier because it is their work and they are now participating. And the training is very important. Training is an integral part of microlending. If you just give them credit, they won't be able to be successful because they never had done any. Most of them are illiterate and they never did any business before, and they need a lot of training. We train the trainers so that the trainers will go and train other people, so that it had a ripple effect and we could reach out to many more people. So training was very, very important. Then we have to give them credit after we know that enough training has been given, theoretical training has been given. Then we start with a small loan to give them practical training. And also this particular group is very different from the normal group. They have all deformities and no sense in the hands, in the extremities. So we have to deal with that also. So for 25 years, for past 25 years, there's a Dr. Atul Shah working from Bombay. He has been working on the rehabilitation people with a lot of surgery, to recorrective surgery. And also he came up with a kit called Self-Care Kit. And he has trained our mobile clinic for Rising Star Outreach. Now we are following that and we are giving that self-care kit to everybody and also training them. Ulcer is a constant companion to the leprosy affected people. So ulcer has to be addressed first. When you talk about stigma, if they don't have ulcers, then you don't consider them as leprosy patients. So we have to address all these things before we just give them credit. And this lady was given a strap around her hand, and there is a pouch. You can put a spoon, you can put a toothbrush, you can put a holder for glass, anything. Or if they are using any tools in their business, that can also be inserted. So this is very, very useful for them. When I met this lady week after we gave her this device, she said, I'm so happy I could drink a glass of water without waiting for somebody. When I felt thirsty, I could drink, and without waiting for other people to come. Such a simple thing goes a long way to help them, to make them self-reliant and build the confidence in them. This is the women's self-help group. This is a great blessing. Now all over India, we have this women's self-help group. This is one of the best poverty alleviation program that we have come up with. These women have to get together and save money. This helps them in cultivating the saving habit. Then they deposit in the bank and they take out of a small amount and do their business within that community. Whatever they want to do, start in a small business. They are trained to keep records and they are trained to go to the banks, which they have never done in their life. So all these trainings take nearly a year for them to get trained. Then the banks give loans to them and they have to return the loan back to the banks. But when the donors give, we keep it as a seed money and it gets revolved among the women's self-help group themselves. So this is how this gives them enormous confidence and self-esteem, and they become very powerful. This is the methodology that Becky was talking about. When everybody said microcredit methodology is not appropriate for this group of people, then instead of saying it is not possible, I thought let us sit together with them and then see what is possible, whether anything can be done, whether any modification can be done, and whether to make it suitable for this community. So after a long discussion, we came to the conclusion that each colony will have a welfare committee. I don't know whether you are familiar with the colony. The leprosy affected people, some 30 years ago, they just were voluntarily, all the people, the family members will say, you get out of the house because of you, there will be a social stigma and the other sisters and brothers cannot get married or whatever reason. So they all come together, the leprosy affected people, and they go and form a colony somewhere outside the city limit. And this is all colony, and we have 700 colonies all over India. Though now, with the expansion of city, they all have become part of the city. But initially, this was the reason why the colonies were formed. So in each of the colonies, they all, only leprosy-affected people and their daughters and sons and the next generation, they live together. So we selected 5 to 7 members of the colony, and they have to select them. So entirely the responsibility is on the shoulders of the colony people. Once they select the members, they have to collect the loan back from the colony people and deposit it in the bank, and also send a report to me and scrutinize the new application and see what is viable, what is not viable, and explain everything to the colony people and send the recommendation to me once a month. So this is the meeting once a month we have, and they send all the reports and the bank statement. This method really works very well. When I gave them the money and asked them to return it to me, they kept saying, oh, please don't charge more than 3%, don't charge more than 5%, we are all poor, we can't afford to give this, that, all sorts of stories. When I said this money belongs to you, you put it in your bank, this will be, you are totally responsible. Now they are charging 10%. So this is now, and that is why it is sustainable, because the money doesn't come back to us or to the donors or anybody. This is revolving around their own people. They can go on taking next loan, whether this generation, next generation, or even the next generation, it can go on and on. So they all know that if they miss it, then they are losing their own money. But at the same time, I tell them, don't be like money lenders. Our idea is to help the humanity, help the people who are really suffering. Because their immune system is low, they tend to get a lot of disease, so they will get admitted in the hospital. Those periods when they are in the hospital, I tell them, give them the grace period, ask them to repay after they come back or 50%. So they all know that it is our program. They care for us, and it is our money, and at the same time they are not pushing us when it is not possible for us. So all these things go to make it a successful project. Now I have 90% success rate in this, and that 2% probably some people die in the middle of the process and they don't have any family members. If they have family members, then the returning of the loan is the responsibility of the family members. This method also reduces the administrative expenditure. So in this process, I am the only one, I don't get any salary, so there's absolutely, the administrative expenditure is zero. They completely, out of the 10% they charge, they take a small amount to send the report and all that. So entirely the responsibility is on their shoulder, and there is no extra administrative expenditure. So this model works really well. And we also like to, interact with the other NGO organizations, and so Rising Star is working with Women's Indian Association and Ramachandra Medical Institute. So after all these things, you would like to see what is the result of all these things. This man started with a very small loan of $20, And now he has such a big bank balance that I don't have to, he won't come back to me anymore. And he has a mini mall because for him or for his colony people, this is like a mini mall. He has got everything. He has got vegetables, he has got fruits, he has got shampoo, cookies, you name it, he has got everything. So people love coming to his shop where they can buy anything they want. So this is to show that it is sustainable, and he is very much affected. You don't see the affected part. His hands are affected, his feet are affected, but he is able to make it. He is a very successful businessman. And sustainability is the most important part of microcredit. And these ladies are now discussing how much they have in the bank. They don't come back to me and again ask for additional loan or additional funds. And they are very happy. You can see the cheers on their face. And when Becky visited, these people were so excited. They brought the bank book and showed it to her very proudly how much they have in the bank. It may be a small amount when you convert it into dollars, but still for them it is a very big account. And this is also the first time that they have bank balance, and so they were very proud. India is a very big country. We are now with the Rising Star, we have been working in Tamil Nadu, this southern eastern part of India. We have now a national forum for rehabilitation where we want to concentrate on the national policy on rehabilitation and microcredit. We want to take it to at all India level. So the national forum has selected all these people. Mostly the 80% of the members of National Forum are leprosy affected people. They come and attend the conference, they sit in the conference room like this, and they are given plane ticket, they travel. So we have come a long way to tackle stigma, but we still have a long way to go. India is such a big country, so we cannot say that we have solved all the problems. But still, we are in the right direction, we are moving. And Rising Star, we are very happy to be part of this national forum because this is an umbrella organization recognized by the government, and we can really go all over India and help many more people where the need is much more than South India. This is the national forum. See, there are thousands of stories which I can go on and on. I just want to say one or two stories about the impact of the microcredit. This lady got a loan for buying this cow. She had two female cows, and once when this cow which was 18 months old, started yielding milk, she told her husband, look, I have earned money. Now I can give the cow to you. You can take care of it and you can earn. She said, but only on loan. It is unheard of anywhere in the world, and particularly in India. He was so shocked. He said, look at this, my wife is saying that she will give the cow only on loan. But she said, no, I was given on loan. And madam said, nothing should be given free, so I will give it to you on loan, and if you want, you will take care of it. And now when I went back and saw, both of them were very happy. Initially he was very upset with me, upset with his wife, upset with me because he saw I taught his wife to be very aggressive. But I told him she was only assertive, not aggressive. And between them, now they have a very big bank balance, and they are happy to spend on their children's education and marriage. And this couple, they were living in a government-run home, like the home for homeless. They have everything free, shelter, food, and medical facilities, but they never had the freedom. So they were longing to come out of the home and have their own place. Because of the loan they got, this lady got a loan for agricultural work, and he got a loan for cow. Between them, they saved enough money to buy this land and put up their own house. There are many people from this project, after getting the microloan, have purchased their own land and are enjoying the freedom. This is a carpenter. He contracted disease and then was in the hospital for a long period, for nearly 3 years. When he lost everything, he came to me for a very small loan. Now he is a owner of a big carpenter shop, and he trains other people here. There are 12 people who are working under him, not only from the leprosy colony, but from the village, neighboring village also. And the people who got training under him, 2 of them have started new shops. This is what we really like, that he becomes a mentor. We take such successful people to other colonies to talk about their experience, what they were, how they were just like the other people whom they were addressing, and what they are today. So this is the beautiful carving that he does. This is the art school we started for the leprosy affected people. A good friend of mine from Austria, he came here as an artist, and none of us thought that this is going to be a successful program. But we thought let it be a pastime for them. But now today the art exhibition goes throughout India, throughout Europe and in America. And Becky got some of the paintings and showed it in many parts of USA. And she collected $30,000. And now, because of the sale of paintings over the period of 7 years, I have enough money in the bank that for the next at least 3 to 5 years, I don't have to go to any donor for continuing the school. This is another lady who is also in there. How you can see how crippled they are, but still they are not crippled in their spirit and their mind. This is what is really beautiful. And once you give them the opportunity, they really come up in life. They really don't want your sympathy. If you just give them an opportunity, they can prove to be productive members of the society. You can see how this man has no finger, but he did the most beautiful paintings, and his paintings were in great demand. And this man unfortunately passed away very recently, and this brings me to really thank the thousands and thousands of volunteers who come to India through Rising Star. And last, when he was ill, he was about 80 plus, and he had fell down from a bicycle and broken his hip. And he was admitted in the hospital. They said, considering his age and his fragile situation, nothing can be done. He may pass away in the operation theatre. So please take him home and take care of him. That's all. He has only a few days left. But I was really trying to give him at least the last few days. He should have a happy memories. So some of the volunteers, and one was Becky's son was there, and some other volunteers. I requested them, I told them his situation. They came to the colony, they took good care of him in the last few days. They cleared his wounds, made him feel very happy, fed him with the food that they brought, and he refused to take the food that was supplied in the colony. Next day, he wanted again the volunteers to bring food. So the volunteers can make such a difference, just bring love, which is worth $1 billion, I would say. A smile on their face really is worth $1 billion. And I would like to introduce Amy Antonelli, who is our program director for volunteers, and she is doing a wonderful job. And I would like Amy to come and tell you more about the volunteer program. Amy?
Well, it's really an interesting thing to hear Padma stand up here and say that out of all of the universities that she's visited over the last few weeks, that she feels something really special here. Padma's been at Harvard and Stanford and Yale, and to come to BYU and to have this feeling here, I think, is a direct result of the volunteers who have come. We have had so many volunteers come from Rising Star, from BYU over the last 5 years, and actually, looking around this audience, I see quite a few of you. I'm sure that you've come here to hear Padma speak because of your great love for her. Rising Star, a lot of people say that the miracle of Rising Star is just unexplainable, and really we attribute so much of it to just God and his miracles to the people and how much he loves the leprosy patients. And I think a big part of that is how many of you have come to Rising Star, how many volunteers have come to Rising Star and contributed whatever it is that you individually have to contribute to this story. And it's amazing to see the impact that you make when you come. I always am surprised by the volunteers when they come. I always sort of try and peg what it is that each particular volunteer is going to offer when they come to Rising Star. And I think somebody shows up and they're great soccer players, for example, and by the end of the time that they're there, had nothing to do with teaching the kids soccer. It was one particular child that they needed to connect with. And that was the reason that they needed to be at Rising Star, and that was their contribution to this story. Last night somebody said, why don't you just go through a day in the life of a volunteer? And so I thought I would just do that. The volunteers basically participate in 3 initiatives when they come to Rising Star. Number 1, they help teach English. In India today, knowing English well is the number 1 determining factor in professional success. So if the children from the leprosy colonies learn English, they have almost a 500% greater chance of earning income. And you, as Americans, have a huge impact on that. The second thing we do is we support the micro-lending businesses that Padma starts by building infrastructure in the colonies. And so the volunteers go and they spend their summers building wells and ditches and buildings and painting. And those of you that have been there know that's some of the hardest, hottest, dirtiest work you've ever done. But somehow at the end of the day, the impact that you've made on the people's lives makes it worth it. And then the last thing that you do is you work directly with our medical teams. And you go out and you help prepare the people for the doctor. And a lot of times that means that you're washing their hands and their feet and getting them ready for the doctor to bandage their ulcers up. And a lot of the volunteers sort of initially balk at that because it's kind of scary to see how disfigured these people are. But once they get in there and they hold their hands and they see the faces of these people, they're no longer scary leprosy patients. They're just friends, and they're just people to be loved, just like you and I. Last year we had a group of volunteers that went into a colony and built a community center. And so they spent the whole week there in this colony, and it was one of our more remote colonies. And because the volunteers don't speak the language, they had to learn how to communicate with the leprosy patients in other ways. And one of the things that they did was they taught them the sign language sign for I love you. And at first, the first few days, the leprosy patients were very wary of these volunteers, these strange Americans who were coming into their colony, and they kind of held back. But as the volunteers every day went through this cycle of learning to build, of serving them and developing that trust, the leprosy patients slowly came to love the volunteers and started to help them build this community center. And by the end of the week, they were so close to each other that as we drove away in the van, the volunteers were leaning out the window and waving goodbye, and the cute leprosy patients, with what little fingers and little hands that they had left, were all raising their hands with the I love you symbol. I think that's the greatest thing, as Padma said, the greatest thing that the volunteers bring is a sense of love to people who have been without it for so long. So if you're interested in coming to volunteer, please think about doing it. Please consider what it is that you can bring to help these people's lives. Our website is risingstar.outreach.org. Our volunteer dates will go up on October 15th. So if you'd like to come, we'd love to see you out there.
We probably have time for 2 questions for Padma, if anyone has some questions. Yeah. I can't believe in a group this size it does as much economic self-reliance that there's no questions about her methodology. Yes?
I'm wondering, as you get into this particular situation, where their diet improves and one thing or another, do you see some alleviation of the leprosy problem? And particularly with the younger people who are not so advanced in the case, they stem up with improved nutrition and enhanced diet.
Actually, nobody knows, unfortunately, why some people get this disease. And we all know that it is caused by Mycobacterium leprae. But even within India, some states don't have this disease at all. And it's only a floating population that they have. So the nutrition, maybe, yes, it will help, because in history you read that this disease was present in European countries and some part of America also, but you don't see any of the disease in either in Europe or in developed countries. It is now only a disease that prevails in the developing countries, probably nutrition, probably the environment, everything contributes to that. Unfortunately, not much of research is going on nowadays, and there is no preventive vaccine either. So we have, but one good news is we have treatment. The multi-drug therapy is a very effective treatment. Once the patient, somebody contract the disease and it is detected and they put on the multi-drug therapy, they can be completely cured without any deformities. That's the one advantage medically we have achieved. But we have no preventive measure and we have no way to say why and how some people can be protected from this disease. But only 5% of the entire world population are genetically predisposed to this disease. So this is the information that we have on this.
Okay, probably time for one more question. Yes.
Not so much a question, but just a comment. Many of you will have listened to this and been very interested in the possibility of serving in India and providing